Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Mortgage Coach Tuesday call. My name is Dave Savage, the CEO of Mortgage Coach. Be sure to connect with us online. If you're on this call, you are either a member of Mortgage Coach or you're a friend of Mortgage Coach. Also, make sure you've downloaded all of our apps, our Rate Watch app, our Edge app, and some of our new apps. A couple things I want to remind everybody about is that we have updated our open house experiences. So the design of them on mobile devices is just next level. I have yet to see anything comparable when it comes to wrapping finance options around properties to help realtors sell properties and help families understand their financing option on properties. The Mortgage Coach dev team has just knocked it out of the park, whether that's on an iPad, an iPhone, and now you can even wrap and add a video narration to a Mortgage Coach experience. So one other product announcement is every Wednesday from now on, just like we do on Tuesday, we do inspirational guests and interviews. Every Wednesday, we're going to teach you how to have mobile conversations with families and with realtors. So all of the mobile tools that we have, we're going to teach you how to have those conversations. And when you really think about the conversations, sometimes it's pulling out and telling a story and sharing a strategy. Sometimes it is showing and sharing strategies. We're going to show you how to do that. So one thing I'm looking for is if you are having Mortgage Coach conversations with families and or realtors, email me at dave@mortgagecoach. We're looking for some stories to share, and we want to bring some things that are happening right now in the marketplace. So email me if you're doing that. So today is all about our Tuesday call. We've been doing these now for 7 years, interviewed hundreds of leaders. I want to remind everybody we're interviewing Dave Ramsey in a few weeks. This is a call that we definitely want you to invite realtors to, and this is a call that will inspire you on how to help families pay off their mortgage faster and really look at investing in real estate and home ownership as a lifestyle. So make sure you come to this call. Today we have Mr. Steve Harney to help me open the first 15 or 20 minutes. Steve, welcome to the call, my friend.
Good morning. Well, I guess it's afternoon to some here on the East Coast, but good morning to most and good afternoon to the people on the East Coast. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, Steve, I'm looking forward to hearing the insights and information that you have for August. So 2 more minutes and we'll bring you into the call.
Fair enough.
All right. And then for our top producer interview today, we have Linda McKinley. Linda, it's been a long time since I've had you on a coaching call, but I've interviewed Linda a number of times over the years. Has it been about a year since you last came in and provided leadership?
Probably. I think so.
Well,
it's been a while.
I love, one, you're not only incredibly successful, but the way you deliver advice and education to families, it's special. So I'm looking forward to walking through how you do that.
Great.
All right, everybody. So more than ever, it's important that mortgage professionals stop delivering mortgage advice in disparate, different ways. And now more than ever, it's easy to deliver that with graphs and charts on mobile devices. So our team has worked really hard to create a technology platform to help you do that. Part of our philosophy, though, is to help you build the why and to connect emotionally. So I hope, I'm not going to put a survey out there, but I hope by now you either attended the Simon Sinek interview live, you've watched the recording, and my ask is to share that. Share it from our Facebook page. Our team has created a landing page, so I will post that on my personal Facebook page today. That is just a very shareable link that helps get this word out, because the message in the interview in this call, I think, is something that's not only important for mortgage professionals, it's important for realtors. So again, I'm not going to ask right now, have you watched it, have you shared it, have you used it, but if you haven't, please do. That's a message that we think is just critical to being a mortgage coach and delivering value to families. So with that said, I want to bring Steve in. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on who Steve Harney is, because at this point, he's really getting to be a regular in the mortgage coach community. Steve, anything you want to share about a little bit of your who in case someone doesn't know who you are, and then I'm going to share your desktop and have you walk through some of the insights that you want to bring to the community.
Well, my who is been in the business for 35 years. I've been dealing with agents on my own 550 agent real estate company up here in New York. Sold that a couple of years ago, and have been out on the speaking circuit and also helping agents really try to communicate the market. But to be frank with you, the real the real prize here is I had the great honor to talk to Linda, I guess about 2 weeks ago, to prep for this call, and spent a little time with her on the phone. When I'm finished, you're really going to have a superstar talking to you. So I might as well get along with my stuff because I know her stuff is going to be phenomenal. So
Thank you.
Linda, you very, very, very much impressed me on the call, and I'm really, really glad they're going to have an opportunity to hear what you have to say because it moved me, so it was special. All right, but let's get started with my stuff. Number one, just always remember, ladies and gentlemen, people don't want to be sold. What people do want is information about the things they care about. And one of the greatest things about Mortgage Coach and what it gives you, the resources it gives you, is it's a real learning environment. All right, the whole thing. You're going to have Dave Ramsey on. I can't believe the stars that Dave Savage is bringing in. But one of the great quotes from Dave Ramsey is, whenever you're dealing with real estate, insurance, stocks and bonds, you want somebody with the heart of a teacher, not the heart of a salesman. And I think that he really hit the ball, hit the nail right on the head there, because that's exactly the case. What people don't want right now is to be sold. They want to be educated so they can make their own decisions. Now, the good news is when they're talking about real estate, still to this day, even through all the craziness, a recent Princeton survey showed that still real estate, if you had money that you didn't need to do anything with for the next 10 years, which one of the following do you think would be the best way to invest? And still, through all the craziness of the last 10 years, real estate still ranks number one. Some of that fear that gets set in makes cash number two, but real estate still ranks as number one. And what we're seeing is in existing home sales, sales are up. In pending home sales, sales are up. New construction, sales are up. By every single price point, sales are up. For every single region of the country, sales are up. So we're in a situation right now that the purchase money business is really a place you want to be. And there's reasons for that. Lawrence Young, the chief economist at NAR, said buyers are coming back in force. One factor for the recent surge could have been due to the rising mortgage rates. They're just a little volatile, but they're ticking up the north side now instead of the south side. As nearly always happens, the initial phase of rising rates nudges people to make decisions now rather than wait until later when the rates could be higher still. I had the great honor to speak at Tom Ferry's event this past week out in San Diego. 4,500 agents, 4,500 of the top agents in the country. And they were talking about the same thing. The buyers are coming off the fence because both prices and interest rates, they're a little bit leery about where they're going to be a year from now, meaning they're going to continue to rise. And Dr. Frank Notoff, this Senior Vice President, Chief Economist at CoreLogic, said this: if you are thinking of buying a home and have the financial means to do so, this could be a good time to take a look at the neighborhood you are interested in. We expect home prices on our national index to be up about 5% in the next 12 months, and mortgage rates are also likely to increase over the next year. So everywhere they're looking, people are telling them to do that. And it's from a point of education. As a matter of fact, I took this right from Freddie Mac. I redid the look of it, because Freddie Mac was a little bit more boring type of look, but I put it in a format that people would see and enjoy. This is what would happen if you bought a $150,000 house with a down payment of 10%. All right, and they gave these numbers out. These are the exact numbers on the Freddie Mac site. If you had 150, put 10% down, that's 15,000. You borrowed $135,000. Principal paid after 7 years would be 17,515. The amount outstanding, the 135 minus the 17,515, puts the value now. The outstanding amount still due is 117,485. But looking at an appraisal situation, I think they were very conservative of what they looked at as far as what houses would go up each year. I thought they were way too conservative. But even with a conservative number, the house now is worth $185,000. That means in 7 years, your buyer, the buyer you helped to get that house today, made $67,000 in home equity, family wealth, net worth. All right, so even Freddie Mac is really pushing the home equity situation. They're trying to educate people that now's the time to buy, and there is a tremendous opportunity available. Now, all you need to do, ladies and gentlemen, is that's a $150,000 house. That's the price they picked. Let's do a $300,000 house or a $600,000 house, dependent on your market. And you'll see with this type of concept what is really taking place, which is really pretty cool. All right. Now, the most interesting thing to me is there was a recent study done by Digital Risk, and they asked millennials, because that seems to be the big question, what are millennials going to do? When are they going to finally come out? When are they finally going to move out of their parents' basements, get married, have children, and buy a house? Well, what you can see here, according to the Digital Risk Survey, 69.6% of the millennials between the ages of 18 and 34 said they're interested in purchasing a home in the next 5 years. Almost 7 out of 10 are going to be in the market over the next 5 years. That's big, ladies and gentlemen. They're starting to come in the market now. NAR is reporting that the first-time home buyers, and many of them are millennials, that number percentage-wise is starting to rise. And there are other reports saying that the NAR numbers are a little bit, conservative, that there might even be more first-time home buyers in there. So that the good news is the market's really strong. The purchase market is really strong. Everything seems to be going in the right direction. People understanding what's taking place. The challenge is they're still very confused. And I think that the people on this call, by what I'm telling you and what Linda's going to teach you, can really help so many people make that move into home ownership, which is crucially important to building that net worth and that, that family values. Now, not the family values, but the family financial values. All right? So let's take a look at it. If we know that so many people do want to buy, why don't they? Why do renters not own their own home? Well, a recent survey showed that 50% said they didn't think they could afford the down payment, and 31% said they couldn't qualify for a mortgage based on FICO score. All right, so that's 5 out of 10 that want to buy a house soon. They can't buy it because they don't think they can afford the down payment. And another 31% think that, well, you know what? I'm not sure I have a good enough FICO score. Now, here's the scary part and the opportunity. 2/3 of those surveyed believe they need a very good credit score to buy a home, with 45% thinking a good credit score is over 780. So 30% of the people don't think they have a good enough credit score, but almost half of them think that they need well over a 780 credit score to get a mortgage. Consumers also overestimate the down payment funds needed to qualify for a home, with 36% thinking a 20% down payment is always required. Wow. 50% don't think they can afford the down payment because so many think that they still need 20% down. And 31% said they don't have a good enough FICO score, but they think they need above a 780 FICO score. Now, what we know is different. And our obligation, I believe very strongly, is that we have to let the public know that. We have to be educators. Because according to Ellie Mae, ladies and gentlemen, the average FICO score on approved loans right now on FHA loans is not over 780. It's almost 100 points lower than that. And even on a conventional loan, it's 757. Now, I'm not educating you to anything you don't already know. I get that. But what I'm saying is there is an obligation to make sure, and our parts, to make sure the public now understands this. Because the really spooky thing is the Federal Reserve Bank of New York just did a study. And when I say just did a study, we look at the studies. There's no study we report on that's more than 45 days old. And in this particular study, what it showed was that if the down payment went from 20% to 5%, the willingness to pay, the term they use in the study, meaning the willingness for somebody to go out and purchase a home, increases by 40%. So if only the down payment wouldn't be 20%, it'd be 5%, the number of people that wanted to buy a home would increase by 40%. Now here's, of course, the scary thing. It's already 5%. They just don't know. As a matter of fact, we all know here that Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae have programs available at 3%. The FHA is a little over 3%. You have a VA and other programs that you can do 0% down. But us knowing that's not the important thing. Us teaching that to the lay public's the important thing. Because we can drive the business right now in a very, very big way. And the fact that they think they need 20% down is crazy. And let's go back to millennials. Because that same survey from Digital Risk talked about millennials that had already purchased a house. And they asked a question, simple question, how much was your down payment? And what they found out was almost 65% of the millennials between the ages of 18 and 34 that bought a house put down less than 20%. Now, again, that's important, all right? And it's not important for us to know. It's important for us to teach. We have to get out there as much as we possibly can with our realtor partners and making sure that we're holding seminars, we're getting great stuff out on social media, we're putting articles together that can help the public understand that what they believe to be true and what they believe to be true for many of them is holding them back from homeownership. That their beliefs aren't true. Those things that are in their way are mirages. Now I know that, I'm talking to mortgage coach people, and this is what I know about mortgage coach people. You don't consider things, you commit to things. You're different than the average loan officer. That's why I love being on these calls once a month. I know I'm talking to the best of the best. You're not going to consider doing this. You're going to commit to doing it, and that's really cool. You're not just in it for your money, just for the money. The people that are mortgage coach professionals, they're in it for the mission of it. Now, I'm not saying that money's not important. Believe me. I understand we have to keep a roof over our family's head. We have to keep food on the table. But mortgage coach people aren't in it just for the money. They're also in it for the mission. And probably the best thing I like about mortgage coach people is the fact that they don't just look at opportunities. Because I'm just showing an opportunity. If we educate people, we'll do a lot more business. We'll help our realtor partners do more business. And almost any loan officer I would show this presentation to would see the opportunity. But I know mortgage coach professionals are going to see it as a responsibility, not just an opportunity. You're going to go out and do something about it. Because, ladies and gentlemen, here's the impact of that. Here's the percentage of a monthly income you can expect to pay on your housing costs historically versus today. The actual money that people would pay on a mortgage payment as a percentage of their income has been down from historic numbers because interest rates are down and prices are down. But on the other side of it, if we leave them as renters, the amount of money they're paying toward their rent as a percentage of their income is above historic numbers, and that 30.1% is going to continue to head north as rents continue to head north. We do have a responsibility, ladies and gentlemen, to make sure. Matter of fact, it might even be stronger than responsibility. We have a legal and ethical responsibility to make sure we educate. But I also think we have a moral obligation to make sure young families, especially young families, but all families, realize what their true options are and they can act on them. Seth Godin put it best. There's a lot of information out there. Here at Bridge Builders, we talk about, it's the dots. Data is dots. There's a lot of data out there. But it's not about having the dots. It's about connecting the dots. We have to educate, and that's a big piece of what we do, a crucially important piece of what we do. Now, one of the things I'm going to do, I spent some time, as I mentioned to you, out of Tom Ferry's, and when I was in front of those 4,500 agents, Tom asked me to do a few minutes on the value of homeownership in this country, both the financial and non-financial value of it. And man, was that well received. In a gigantic way, that was well received. As a matter of fact, there was a chance of Harney for president after that, but to be frank with you, we already have one guy that's really a little over the top from New York in the race, so they don't need me in it. But it was very well received because those agents realize, your realtor partners realize, they don't list and sell houses for a living. They change people's lives. So I just want you to know that for everybody on this call, not tomorrow, next Wednesday, we're going to be doing exclusive agent webinar for all of the Bridge Builder members. And I want to invite the people on this call to this webinar. Homeownership, why will always be a part of the American dream. This is a webinar we're really doing for the agents of all the people that are bridge builders subscribe to my service. I don't want you to invite your agents on. That's going to be a little bit crazy because we talk in a certain way that won't help you. But I do want to invite you on to get a feel, two things, to get a, to understand what I believe in so strongly and get a feel for the tools that the bridge builders have, because I think they align so well with, the tools that a mortgage coach offers. Anyone who wants to go on there next Wednesday, that's where you would sign up. You can go right to that link and sign up for the webinar. It'll be next Wednesday. It will be 2 o'clock Eastern time, 11 o'clock Pacific time. And again, I think we're going to give some great content there. Dave has been so gracious. Dave Savage has been so gracious to allow me to give you that information so that in case you wanted to get on and see exactly what we do, and if nothing else, you're going to learn a lot more about both the financial and non-financial reasons for home ownership. All right, and I think that's going to be important as we move forward. Well, the great news right now is I'm finished up, and you're now going to hear from someone who really, truly impressed me when I was on the phone with her, and that's Linda. Dave, again, thank you so much for the opportunity this morning.
Thank you so much, Dave. Very much appreciate the time you take to prepare and bring great insights, and love the inspiring way that you deliver it. So great information, great insights. Everybody, we will take this link. Marcy, if you can, oh, there it is. Make note that you can click on this link from the chat in the GoToMeeting, and we will also put this in the comments to our Facebook page promoting today's call. So please check this out. Everything Steve does comes from a great place. His why, which is education and helping families, helping families and realtors make better decisions. Thank you, Steve.
No problem whatsoever at all, Dave. Thank you.
Right on. So for anybody that joined us a little late, I want to remind everybody that every Wednesday going forward, 11 o'clock Pacific time, we're going to be doing classes on how to have mobile conversations with Mortgage Coach. So, every time you're meeting with a family, every time you're meeting with a realtor, you've got a lot of power in your back pocket or on your iPad that you're not aware of. We want to make sure that you're not only aware of it, but you know how to use it. So make sure you sign up for this class, share it with other Mortgage Coach members, because we want to help you drive Mortgage Coach mobile experiences out in the field. So Linda McKinley, are you ready to rock?
I am ready to rock.
All right. All right. So, Linda, it has been a while. I know you've got a great person on your team who's been with you for a lot of years. As my goal when I'm doing top producer interviews between now and TRID are, let's face it, there's a lot of changes that people need to make with their processes. Everybody has to change their sales process a little bit, and everybody has to change what I call the loan manufacturing process, so that not only do you have an effective workflow, but you're creating an amazing experience for family. So Linda's prepared some slides that she's going to walk you through to talk about her, the experience and the process that she delivers. Linda, before you do that and I share the screen, if you could just tell us a little bit about your mortgage practice, where is it, a little bit about your team, and then we'll get into walking through your process.
Certainly. So I've been in the business since 1994. I'm in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. It's about equidistant between Aspen and Vail. We're becoming more and more of a tourist town. Our population's probably a little over 15,000 people, but our market area exceeds 50,000. So I began in real estate in 1976, got into mortgage industry in 94, and I've been doing it ever since, and I'll tell you, I love it. I still love what I do, and probably because you never stop learning. Just when you think you've got it nailed, you get cut down at the knees and you go, oh, didn't see that coming. So I just enjoy the variety, and I enjoy making people happy.
Love it. Well, you've got a tremendous why. Tell us a little bit about, you shared the market, but in terms of your mortgage practice and what makes it unique, what percentage of your business is realtors, financial planners, give us a little sense of that, and then tell us about your team.
Okay, so my business, the majority of my leads come from probably past clients, but then also referrals from realtors. I was a realtor for 17 years, so I know many of them here, and I understand their plight and what they're dealing with. So I probably have 5 realtors that I really are real core go-to people. I have probably 3 financial planners that are go-to people, have some attorneys and then CPAs. I like to team up with some workshops in town, and I usually team up with a financial planner, a state attorney, and a communications coach, and then we just do some public workshops, which is great. Lindsay Stewart is really the brains behind the operation. She's been with me since 2006. She processes the loans, she answers the phones, she orders supplies, but she is so detailed. She has the file totally under control when it goes into underwriting, and I'll tell you, we're getting approvals back in 24 to 48 hours, and usually clear to close, very few conditions. So she is the top-notch person that, you know, I'm kind of the ideas person. She's the get it done person, and it works. There are just 2 of us in this office.
Right. So you're doing the business development. When it comes to the borrower conversation, because I just want to make sure everybody understands kind of from a team perspective how you're working. I mean, I think it's clear that she would be the transaction coordinator, but is she taking the app? Who's delivering the mortgage coach experience? Give us a little bit about workflow with the borrower, with the family.
Okay, that would be me. I take the initial lead, and we have some information in the slides later on the process, but I take the lead. I refer most of the people to my website to fill out an online application. That gives me a little bit of time to review it before I give them a call, and then we prefer face-to-face meetings with our clients, so I do that almost every time. And then what else? During that initial meeting with them, I sometimes prepare a mortgage coach report, but a lot of times I do that afterward, so that because most of my people have not quite found a house yet, they're still looking. So I like to make sure that I'm getting them early in the process, educating them, and then providing them with information on various properties around. So then I have an opportunity to, if they're not already with a realtor, I have the opportunity to refer them to an agent that I know can get the job done and who I trust.
Again, we're going to go through these slides. Everybody, you're now seeing Linda's desktop, and she's going to walk you through a presentation she's prepared. But real quick before you do that, how often are you providing a lead with a buyer to an agent, where you're controlling the source of the business?
I would say probably 60% of the time.
So how many times a month are you creating a sales-ready lead for a realtor?
Oh, probably 4 or 5.
So think of the power of that. By the way, everybody, I'm going to be interviewing Craig Proctor next week on Mortgage Coach's Call. And I mean, the whole theme of the call with Craig is how lenders can control the lead source, bring ready buyers to realtors, and have a lot more value that they're bringing to the real estate agent and a lot more control of the partnership. So next week's call is going to be centered around Craig Proctor's ideas and strategies to do that, just an FYI. So Linda, let's get into it. I know you prepared these slides, you put a lot of thought into your process, how you deliver value, and you're talking to mortgage coaches, so walk us through your thoughts here.
Okay, so I really think that the biggest part is for us to find out the questions that the borrowers have, the concerns they have, and then educate them and just provide them the information they're really looking for. So I think we've all heard that a confused customer doesn't buy, and so I look at my job as educating. That's what I need to do, and so many times in my conversations with the people, I just tell them, you know what, I'm an educator. I want you to understand this process start to finish, and if at any point you don't, stop me. Make me explain it to you in the terms that you understand. So to educate, you're providing the clarity, and part of that initial conversation with the borrower is to correct the misinformation they have. You know, how many of you have had somebody you're working with, you quote them the rate, you've got the whole scenario for them, and they have a 660 credit score, they've got some issues, and then well, my neighbor just got 3 3/4 for a rate, and yada yada. So, you know, they're listening to their neighbors. So up front, if you correct that misinformation, you've got a much smoother transaction. Explain to them that all rates are not the same, what all goes into determining a rate. And then I had somebody last week that said, what do you mean conventional? I don't have 20% down. And you know, sometimes we forget, we're so wrapped up in what we do that we forget that people don't know what they don't know. I mean, we do this all day long and we're still learning. So put yourself in the shoes of the consumer or the borrower. And at Fairway, we've got a saying that if you control the beginning, then you control the finish. So set the stage for a successful transaction, and that's done up front by the loan originator. So words matter. I like to try to use the same words throughout the transaction and with every borrower. And the value of Lindsay in my operation is that we speak the same language. So I know that if I'm not available to answer a question, she can certainly answer the question. She is licensed, and she's using the same conversation that I would have. So when I'm meeting with people, I usually try to get consensus. So I ask them, does that make sense? And if they say no, then I haven't done a good job. I need to go back and start again. I always end any appointment with, is there anything I haven't explained or addressed? And I always want to make sure that they're totally there, but it's kind of nice too when the borrower looks at you and says, you know, I've just received more information from you in the last 20 minutes than I have from brand X down the street. So that always makes you want to be even better. And then always ending the conversation, no matter where it is in the process, with the next step is. Make sense? There I go again, right? So I think we've covered that on what my job is, and everything you do and say in the very beginning sets the stage for how that borrower reacts. Do we need more documentation? Or, you know, some of them say, well, my neighbor didn't have to provide that. So just set the stage that this is what we need. This is a sample total cost analysis. I'm not sure, Dave, that we've got this in the right spot. That was maybe we'll come back to it.
Yeah. Why don't you? First of all, we keep this as agile as possible, so let's come back to it. Feel free to pass it, and we'll come back in a few.
Okay. And do you have any questions so far?
No, you're doing a great job. And folks, if you do have questions, we are going to have time to ask Linda some questions. Or if you have some questions about Steve's conversation or anything else, feel free to post those in the GoToMeeting. I'm keeping an eye on that. By the way, for Marcelo, you asked for the Bridge Builder slides to be put in the handout section. That will be uploaded in the handout section in just a minute, so keep an eye out for that. And you're doing a great job, Linda. Keep it rocking.
Okay, so when you use the total cost analysis, and you know, if we go back to what our job is, and our job is building trust. You know, we want to build relationships. I think it's pretty hard to sell a mortgage or a house or anything to somebody that doesn't trust you. So when you use the total cost analysis, I think it just opens up the willingness of the customer to listen to you. So here's an example of, and it was kind of funny because this was a past customer, and I don't know if any of you have maybe taken for granted your past customers and think, well, you know, they'll always call me. Well, they've got a lot of noise every day bombarding them. So this particular couple had listened to an internet ad, and the rate was so great, and they thought, well, ours is pretty plain Jane, and it was a real pretty easy loan. But they went to an internet lender, and the guy called me and he said, you know, I can't get a cost breakdown from the guy. He just keeps telling me, well, this is what we can do and this is when we can close. And he wasn't building trust with the customer. So he gave me a call, and instantly I responded with a TCA, giving them their options. After that, after they reviewed that, they were in the office. Now the wife was leaving for a 10-day vacation, but they were in the office on July 31st. We completed the app. They didn't do it online. Completed it in the office, disclosed the loan, locked the rate, and closed. Although it was a HARP refi, we didn't need an appraisal, but we closed it on August 21st. So that's a success, and I bet you he tells his friends, yeah, those rates are great on the radio, but they're not all they're cracked up to be, and you're not going to know what your costs are. So if you use a TCA, some of the benefits there is it lets you repeat their goals. So when you're preparing a total cost analysis, go back to your initial notes with that customer and look at what those goals were that they told you about, because when you do record the video, you can repeat those, and that just builds higher trust because they know you were listening. Do you think this link works, Dave? Let's see. This will be okay. So no.
There you go.
Okay, it's working.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one.
Hey, Linda, did we lose you there?
No, I'm here.
Oh, we can't hear the video, by the way.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I just stopped the video. Basically what this is, I had sent this TCA to a customer when I thought they should be locking in the interest rate. Now, I knew from the conversations we'd had before that they were more interested in lower cash to close than they were in the rate. So what I did was prepare the lowest rate on that day with the amount of cash to close versus the lower cash to close. The neat thing about this, which we'll get into in a minute, is that I was able to record the video, tell him what I wanted him to know, send it off to him. The husband and wife were in different towns. They were able to look at it while I was continuing on with my work. So that worked out pretty well. Let's see if we can get back to here. So when you're doing a TCA and recording a video, make sure you restate their goals as you heard them, and then also repeat your commitment to them. I think you're not going to hear the video or the audio on this, but this, let's see if, well, that link doesn't work, but another TCA I did was for somebody that was going out to look at a property. They had a specific property in mind, so I sent them a TCA that bracketed what they were looking for and just kind of explained that. And then in the video I stated, I told you in the beginning that I would always provide you with a bracketed breakdown of what a specific property price points would look like. So also the TCA, I think we went back, help.
Hey, Linda, I want to make sure we really nail this and people understand it. So one of the things I've done is I am now sharing my screen, and on my screen, hopefully you see my mobile app. I think this is the scenario that you had in mind.
Yes.
You know? So one thing I want to frame, and then I want to have you walk through it, and I'll just follow along, is that in your back pocket, every strategy that you helped a family with mortgage coach, you have it. Every story that you want to tell, whether that's, you know, you're sitting down with a realtor and you want to, you know, show strategies, tell stories, you can do that. And we're going to talk about this on Wednesday. But why don't you go through this one, and I'll move the mobile app just to follow along with you.
Okay, this is the one where the people had a showing that evening for a property, and the property was listed at $319. So, you know, they thought maybe they could get it a little less, so I bracketed the price. So started with the $315, showed them what that payment would be and what the cash to close would be, then showed them the listing price, what the payment would be and the cash to close. But then I went up higher because we have a real fast market and there are bidding wars. So the next one, I think I went to 322 on the third option, 322 for the third option. So what this showed them was, okay, if we have to go up higher, this is what our payment change is going to be, and this is what our cash to close difference will be. So if you look, maybe, where's the payment on that? Oh, that's the closing costs. So closing costs are about the same no matter what that price is when you bracket it, but the payment breakdown, go down a little bit more, Dave.
Got it.
So
there you go, right here.
there you go. So they could see from 315, which would be a lower offer, 1805, then maybe they go up $21 at list price, and if they have to go up higher, they're $16 more a month. So what you're doing is taking the oh, what do you call it? The concern that they have that they're paying more than list price, and you're dollarizing it for them so that they can look at a property and go, wow, you know, this house is worth $16 more than a month than the property down the street that we don't love as much. The story on this one is that they looked at the property, and then I was asked for a pre-qual letter, which I gave them, but they never had to come back to me to say, Linda, if we have to offer 322, what will that look like? So I wasn't the holdup. They looked that night at the property and then could easily make the decision that, yeah, we've got somebody else waiting to come see this property. Let's just go 322. Hey, realtor, do you think that'll work? And the agent that they're working on is a realtor who's probably been in the business a couple years, but she is loving this. You know, all the information is there. She has the same information. She's writing the offer. She's got their name. She's got the terms of the financing, and it just saves a lot of time. What if that had been on a Friday night and then they wanted to figure out how much the 322 would cost them? That's what they have to do, but I have to wait to talk to my loan officer until Monday because they couldn't reach the loan officer over the weekend. You know, this just saved me time because I didn't get a call, right? And it saved them time in their decision-making process. It was a win.
Yeah, so first of all, let's net this out, everybody. So in your borrower's back pocket now, they've got the details. If you are meeting with a realtor and you want to show them how you're delivering value and advice, you know, it's got Linda's picture, it's compliant because it has all the information, it's you know, purchase options from low, middle to high. We can drill down on the monthly payment. We can show it graphically. You know, in terms of netting it out, you know, here's the monthly payment netted out. And we all know with TRID, we're going to have future requirements of showing people the cost over 60 months. In this particular case, she's able to show that over 5 years, you know, the lowest price is a $1,684 difference. You know, and you can drill down on that. You know, you can get into the details of this to as much high level or as detailed as you want. So again, I want to remind everybody, the habit we want you to create is to obviously create these for families. You know, create it however, you know, if you're integrated with Optimal Blue, create it from Optimal Blue. If you're creating it from Edge, create this experience in a matter of minutes. By the way, Linda, how long does it take you to create something like this for a family?
Oh, if I really get detailed, maybe 4 minutes.
So,
That's from pricing it up.
less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And now the family has this in their back pocket. The realtor has this in their back pocket. And when you want to sit down with someone to walk it through, you've got it in your back pocket. So this, by the way, this was the other solution that you provided. I just wanted to, you know, is there anything you want to highlight on this particular scenario? This is the one you did earlier.
Yeah, that was just the one on recommending that they lock. And I actually, if I had been them for a, you know, difference of a couple $1,000 cash to close, I would have taken the lower payment, but it isn't what I would do. I mean, I certainly provided them the information, but their goal was the lowest amount of cash to close. So they had the options. I'm working on other loans. They called and said, Austin and I have talked. We want to lock it in at X amount, and we're off to the races.
Beautiful. So by the way, if anybody needs more training on this, you'll notice that Linda does a really nice job. I mean, drilling down to the fee details, you know, it's one thing I love. I mean, not only are you a top producer that's doing great business in a very small market. I mean, let's face it, folks, she lives in a city with less than 20,000 population. Her total community is 50,000. She's closing 8+ loans a month, has built a great career on that, and is just getting into the details of value for every family that she serves. So to me, this is a great case study on a local mortgage professional just doing it right. So if you don't know how to get into the details the way Linda does, so you know, as you can see, I'm moving the mobile device around. I'm getting into this. If you don't know how to do this, every Thursday at 9 o'clock, we'll answer all your questions and we'll get you this training. So check that out. Linda, I'm going to pass the screen back to you so you can get back to your slides.
Okay.
Go ahead and grab that and share away. And again, folks, if you have questions for Linda, feel free to post those in the GoToMeeting, and I will do my best to bring them into the conversation.
Okay. So, you know, the TCA allows you to cross-sell the members. In almost every video, I make sure I say you are in great hands with Sarah if you have any questions. Now, one thing about this that I did learn, I always thought, and that's the way Dave trains, is that, you know, share this with your realtor. But I did have somebody say to me, Linda, I'd rather they not know all of this. Don't share it with the realtor. They hadn't met with the realtor yet, and they had been with another one that they didn't trust, and I was able to refer them over to somebody else who got the job done. They love them, and we're closing, I think, next Monday on their transaction. So, you know, you can cross-sell the team, but always make sure that the borrower knows that, or get their permission that, hey, I just want to share it with them so that we're all on the same page. It'll help them when they write up the offer. And then also just some stats, 8 of the 12 loans that I'll close this month, and actually one of those is moving into September, but 8 of those I prepared at least one TCA, either during the shopping process or the rate lock process. So I think it works. I mean, probably before March, I was consistently 5 to 7 loans a month, and we've been consistently, I'd say more like 9 on average, and then we've got 11 this month that'll close. So I really think that using this consistently and really being proactive about it will increase your production. So here's some strategies which I've kind of gone over, but always provide a bracketed TCA for the properties that the buyer is interested in or has scheduled a showing for, and that link is the one we just showed for Sarah. Don't tell them, hey, call me if you like the property and we can work up the numbers. Don't be the holdup to making an offer, because in a hot, fast market, these people need to make a decision quickly, and a confused borrower isn't going to buy, so why not give them all that information with a bracketed TCA? And then provide, you know, the TCA showing payment cost breakdown of the loan options. That's providing the clarity, which is your job. Show pricing and down payment options for them. Don't ask, you know, tell them, hey, ask the seller to pay your closing costs, or, oh, you want to put down $20,000? Great, here's the program for you and here's what the payment would be. I mean, anybody can do that. And then always be proactive, you know, prepare the options before they look at properties. And, you know, I use a home search program that I offer to all of my borrowers right at the very beginning. But a lot of realtors also have a website, so get the realtor involved with that, or just ask the borrower what they've seen. And it could be that they've seen a for sale by owner, and get the information. And a lot of times the people will say, well, I can't find out what the taxes are. Well, how long does it take you to go on the county website and boom, pull it up, and you look like you're some genius? So don't be reactive. Don't wait for the request from the borrower, or worse yet, from your referral partner. Don't be the delay. I keep saying that in a borrower making an offer. We've had so many people that just kind of chase properties because they're late to the party. So don't be the cause of that. I think, Dave, you want to comment on this. It is the ultimate borrower and realtor experience.
No doubt about it. I guess the only thing I have to say there is make sure you have downloaded both apps. Make sure
Right.
Rate Watch is active. If you're having any challenges with that, email our support team at support@mortgagecoach.com. And on Wednesday of this week at 11 Pacific, and of course that call will be recorded also and posted to our YouTube page. But we're going to really help you bring, to me, a modern mortgage experience is a mobile conversation. Your ability to be meeting with a family, be meeting with a realtor, and have a dynamic conversation that's interactive, where you're telling stories, and you're not just telling the story, you're following along. It's visual. It's a mobile conversation is critical. So again, we'll be focusing on that. But continue, Linda.
Yeah. Okay, and I would say on those training calls, I mean, I've used Mortgage Coach for, gosh, how long, Dave? I go back to the days of Opportunity Optimizer that you had.
Right?
And I'll still sit in on a few calls, and even if I get one nugget, I mean, it helps me in what I'm doing. And there are things in Mortgage Coach in Edge that you guys have changed, and I go, wow, I didn't know that. So we never know what we don't know. Benefits of using, I mean, it just plain saves time. So it enables you to provide a clear, concise option for the borrower to review. You can easily update the rates as properties change. The borrowers can share these with other decision makers. Why have those conversations over and over again with everybody involved in the transaction? And that could be parents too. It reduces our time in explaining those options. You know, one picture is worth 1,000 words in my mind. And then I'm using it for rate lock options, which is really saving me time. You prepare the option, send the borrower with a video, they discuss it, call, whoever they need to, and then they call and say, let's lock. So while they're reviewing it, I'm working on another loan.
Hey, by the way, before you go off of that, everybody make
Okay.
note of the alert she just got in the bottom right-hand corner because she has Rate Watch turned on. I also want to remind everybody, it's fairly well known that one of the biggest concerns with TRID is the fact that you're going to have more status calls. You're going to have to be calling the borrowers more, 2 to 5 times more. And those status calls, on average, cost you anywhere from 7 to 13 minutes, plus the phone tag around the edges. And you're going to have more status calls with realtors. So when you start thinking of the time savings, delivering Mortgage Coach with the numbers where you're providing clarity and value, but think about it from a time savings perspective. When you update the numbers in the video, it takes you 1 to 2 minutes to do that. And now the family, both members, the husband, the wife, whoever's involved in that mortgage decision is in the loop. You've just either saved a status call or reduce the time in that call. Also, the realtor's in the loop. The financial planner, whoever needs to be updated within status calls is in the loop of your Mortgage Coach TCA with a video. So the time savings, especially with TRID coming, and the fact that it's so well known that there's going to be more update calls, and it's so well known that everybody involved in the purchasing or the mortgage decision needs to be updated more, there's a huge time savings today, and that time savings is going to be 5x. So if you haven't established a habit where you're giving the TCA, you're adding a video or an audio message, if that's not a habit for you today, it's costing you business today, but it's going to cost you a lot of time and a lot more business as we roll into TRID. We've got about 7 more minutes. If anybody has an important question that you want to make sure we get to, please post that and go to meeting, and Linda, continue to go through your talking points.
Okay, and another benefit, it speeds up the decision making. If you're using the TCA to bracket prices, then they're already aware of what the cost will be on that house if they need to go higher, and it just enables the borrower to say, is this home worth X amount more a month than that lower priced home down the street? And I mean, let them make that decision. You've provided the information, and again, the LO should never be the holdup when the borrower wants to make an offer. Helping move up and move down buyers is key too for the TCA. You can help determine how to structure the new purchase. I've used the reinvestment strategy recently with a gal. She's selling her property. She'll have maybe not quite $100,000, but she's going, I want to put it all into the house. Well, I know she doesn't have a lot of savings because this is about the third loan I've done for her. So I was just able to put it into perspective. Number one, what payment do you want? So we took the payment that she wants and we worked backwards on how much cash she needed to part with, and then was able to show her how she's going to have safety. I think what she's settled on is her payment will be about $62 a month more than her comfort level, but she has $40,000 in an investment account that she can get to if and when she needs it. And then also the reinvestment strategy shows that in 15 years, when she'll probably retire, shows how much money she'll have. She'll owe about $118,000 on the loan, but she'll have about $92,000 in the bank. So would that be paid off if she chooses? Darn close. And again, Dave touched on TCA benefit is compliance. You can easily keep a history of your advice to the borrower. You can save the link to Encompass. I use MPC for my database, or just save the email. It's also saved in Mortgage Coach, and the neat thing about that is that you've got the date you quoted the rate. So nobody's going to come back and say, oh, you were doing bait and switch. You know, you were quoting false rates. That's not the case. You've got a record of the options you provided, and you've got the total cost over 5 years. So you're compliant. Anything on that, Dave?
No, I think you nailed it.
Okay, so then my process, and I'm not going to go through start to finish, but I think this is really important with setting the stage for the transaction. And when that initial lead comes in, I take it over the phone. I clarify, are they purchasing? Are they a refi? Are they a first-time home buyer? That tells me how much time I need to spend with them and what educating I need to do. Always want to know who referred them to me. Ask them what they're looking to do. Just in those words, you know, what are you looking to do? How can we help you? Then I direct them to the website, just explaining that that's easiest. And the other side is they're putting in that information then. You're not copying it and, hey, this is what came over to me. If they can't do it online, we certainly offer to gather the information over the phone. Then we schedule a face-to-face consult, and here's something that has saved me time, and I think it just boosts your professionalism. I'll send out an invite via Outlook, and in the message part, I'll include a brief goal of our meeting and then give the list of documents I want them to bring. I notify the agent that the initial contact's been made and that a meeting is scheduled. And then I also ask the agent to send over a few properties if they've talked to the people about certain properties that maybe there's an interest that the borrowers have in that. And I do that because that enables me, when I have my face-to-face consult with them, if I'm running numbers, why not run them on properties that they know, that they can actually visualize? So in that initial consult, you know, gather their goals, I listen, and I always ask what their ideal payment is. And it's really interesting from pre-2009, 2008, when I ask a borrower what their ideal payment is in a perfect world, they usually come in right on track with what they qualify for. But back pre-2009, it was almost pie in the sky, you know, and you'd have to, well, you know, you don't qualify for that much. Well, if you can't get it for me, so-and-so down the street will. And I think it's so much, it's just more refreshing now that the people are really paying attention to their situation. So I also discuss credit scores, and I determine if the timing is right to pull the credit report. Just because you're meeting with the people doesn't mean you need an updated credit report. It could be they were with brand X, and if they have that credit report or if they have their credit scores, a lot of times that's enough for me. And then I also want to make sure if they've paid down any credit card debt or paid off any collections recently, because timing is everything when you pull that credit report. So we go into that and explain credit scores. I explain the mortgage process, and a lot of times I use a jigsaw puzzle analogy in that they're the jigsaw puzzle all wrapped in the box. They're bringing themselves to me. I spill out all the pieces. I have the benefit of looking at the picture to put it together, their loan, and then let them know that by the time it goes to the underwriter, our job is to be able to let the underwriter put it all together without the benefit of the picture. And, you know, again, setting the stage so they know what we're doing. You know, a loan isn't just, boom, you're qualified anymore. I always explain all loan programs that we have and then discuss the pros and cons of each. I eliminate the unsuitable programs. Now, a lot of times when I'm sitting down with somebody, I already know what program we're probably going to go to. But again, if you go back to eliminating miscommunication and, oh, my neighbor had this, if you go through, hey, here's everything and here's what you qualify for, or here's the best that fits you. I always pre-qualify them for the comfort level that they've expressed. And then I also inform them of the max that they qualify for. I explain the effect of HOA dues on the maximum loan, ask them to please call me if you see a property or if you want to go see a property, and I'll get the information put together for you. Because a lot of times, I mean, I did a TCA this morning for a realtor, and HOA fees run from $170 up to $582 a month. That's a big swing on what they're going to qualify for. And so it's good to have a few properties that are actual properties instead of just guessing. Building the team. I explain the importance of professionals for every aspect of their purchase. I ask who their team members are. I cross-sell their realtor when logical. Your reputation's on the line, so you want to be careful if they're dealing with an agent that, you know, not so much, you're not really feel in the love with them or you don't really trust them, by all means don't say, oh, that's a great agent. You know, be sincere and be truthful when you're cross-selling somebody. And then ask if they need referrals. You know, do they need a realtor? Do they need an insurance agent, home inspector, financial planner, estate planning attorney? We get into, on our initial face-to-face calls, we get into, do you have a will? So, you know, there are a lot of opportunities to refer business to other partners. Okay, we offer the Home Scouting app. I explain the total cost analysis and that it can be provided for any properties that they have interest in. I explained that we'll bracket the price options and why, and then advise them of the benefit of copying the realtor so that everyone's on the same page. Another thing that we may not have touched is that when you send out a TCA, you can mark that you want to be alerted when that TCA is watched, and that's really helpful for me to know, hey, they're really looking at this, maybe I should make a call. Always reinforce the best method of communicating with them, and then determine what the next step is. Oh my, that's the end, Dave.
You've done a great. Thank you so much for, you know, sharing your process. I think to everybody on the call, it's obvious that Linda represents a mortgage coach experience. She is delivering a modern mortgage experience, and I hope it's obvious to everyone, with especially with TRID coming, it's going to be more important that you're being very precise with some of your process, and we make that easy. You know, whether that's delivering the mortgage coach at TBD, and Linda, you did a nice job of showing that, whether that's, you know, the homes in escrow, and now we're netting out a specific program, but where it's going to be particularly important, especially with TRID, is, you know, while we're not the disclosures, you're delivering the disclosures through the LOS, you can update that video, update the numbers, avoid and reduce status calls. And we all know that when it comes to closing the loan, there's a lot of concern that there's going to be delays, that there's going to be an increase in the number of updates and status calls. So use the mortgage coach video, update the numbers, update the video, everybody's in the loop, and continue to do that post-closing. You know, one of the big mortgage coach touch points that I'm seeing a lot of our best professionals add is that within 30 days of the closing, they're now showing, hey, did you get your monthly payments coupon? And here's a way to reduce your PMI faster and prepay your mortgage or build up equity faster. So they're, you know, we're going to cover this a lot during the Dave Ramsey call, but how to help people achieve their financial goals, and from TBD through the close of escrow. On this Wednesday's call, we're going to focus a lot on how to use the new Mortgage Coach mobile app to add a video. And now that more and more mortgage coaches are updating that video multiple times throughout the process of the loan, we've added some functionality to replace and update the video. We're going to make sure you know how to use that. So make sure you sign up, because we want to make sure that you know how to use it from a search, show, share, and create. So we've created a checklist of what we think are 8 to 10 just core skills that you need to have to be a great mortgage coach. And so if you haven't already, make sure you download our apps. As I opened up the call today, if you have a story about how you're delivering mobile conversations to realtors and families, forward that to me. Email me, dave@mortgagecoach.com. Linda, you've done a great job of delivering massive value. I'm really grateful for the time you took to prepare and how much transparency and value you brought. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Dave.
Want to remind everybody, next Tuesday at 9 o'clock, we have Craig Proctor. I believe he was RE/MAX's #1 realtor of all times. He is going to be talking directly to lenders, and he's going to be sharing ideas and strategies for you to generate home buyer leads, so that you've got more leads to bring to your realtors. So look forward to seeing you guys next week. Sorry we went a few minutes over today, but you know, the devil's in the detail. We got into a lot of details today. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week. Also, if you're a guest on today's call, I just posted a survey. Let us know what you thought of today's call on a scale of good to great. And if you were a guest and you want to learn more about Mortgage Coach, click on the demo option at the bottom. Take care, everybody. Have a fantastic week. We'll see you next Tuesday. And thank you again, Linda. Bye now.
Thanks.